What's up, everyone? DJ Alessandrini here with another weekly reference lap for the Mazda Rookie Series. This week, we're on Laguna Seca, again, in the Miata, and this is one of the best weeks of the series. There's always great population in the servers. There's always so many good people jumping into these races. If you've been waiting to jump in, now's the time. We're going to go over some tips and tricks on how to set a fast, safe lap here at Laguna and make sure that you guys finish your race, increase your iRating, set some lap times, and have a bunch of fun. This is a weekly series, so there's a bunch of videos that came before this one. This is actually the last week of this season, which is the first season of 2020. Next week, we're going to have a special video that involves kind of a flow chart of how I go about setting up a car for a racetrack, and that will come in handy for week 13. I'll also be sharing my baseline setup that I use to basically start every car that I make in next week's video in the description. If you're watching this and it's a week old, you might want to check out and see if that video is out yet. Planning on having it come out around the same time normally, which is about midday Monday. All right, but focusing on this week, it's Laguna Seca again, and I did a 1:39.1, not the fastest lap I've ever done around here with the V7 tires, but running the scheduled weather and time of day here at Laguna for the Mazda Rookie Series. Track temps are around 82, 83 degrees. And it was just keeping me out of the 38s, and I tried to get to the 38s. My optimal was a 38.8, but I just couldn't quite get there. All right, so just starting right away. Down the front straight, we want to carve distance around turn 1, which is this very, very slight left. But we want to stay close to the left side, up all along these right here. And we're going to be braking. Leave it in 4th gear, by the way. It's not worth shifting to 5th gear. Even if you're in draft, it's not really worth it. So this is also the best passing chance you'll get for the lap. Even if somebody covers the inside, you still have a good chance of hanging around the outside. There's decent grip on the outside of 2, which is this first left-hander up here, or the second left-hander, I guess. All right, so we're braking just after the 3 marker here. As the tires wear down, you might have to back it up a little bit. So just after the 3, you're clipping an apex there. You're kind of turning this into a little bit of a diamond. And then you're on throttle when your car will be next to this red curbing here. By the way, don't hit the red curbings. They're pretty violent, especially on the car in the baseline setup. So you want to be right next to that red curbing, and you know you picked the angle right if you get on throttle, you're next to this red curbing, and the car moves to the edge of the track on the right over here. It moves over here because the momentum takes it over here, not because you turned the wheel and drove the car over here. If you were barely able to keep the car on track and you clip the inside of that curbing and you run to use every inch on the outside here, you have the right angle and you got on power at the right time. If you run out of track or had to lift, you got on power too early. If you didn't even come close to running out of the track, then you were on power too late. So heading up to turn 3 now. And guys, the moral of the story here at Laguna is using every single inch of track and keeping it out of the dirt. The dirt's very, very slippery. Let's turn the race car sounds up a little bit. Sorry, it's been a little quiet so far. So again, we're just using every inch of track. We're trying to stay away from the red curbing. Even on the unloaded side, every inch of track again. Even popping into the left curbing over here. Just popping into left curbing because that gives you, like another half a car width, right? And then barely missing this red curbing there. The car on baseline setup, when you hit that curbing, it bottoms out. It can even damage the car, giving you aero damage, which will slow you down just at higher speeds. These red curbs, it's a little bit of an old scan in iRacing, so they don't look gnarly. they're gnarly. You're going to just have to take my word for it, or accidentally hit one at some point, and you'll find out for yourself. But again, we're using every inch on the entry of the corner, at the apex of the corner, and the exit of the corner. Then a lot of people will just drive down the middle of the track here, hustle the car to the right. This is a slight curve. Any distance you cut out of this is going to be a half a car length, a half a car. It's important to cut the distance any chance you get. So this could be, if some other guy's just driving around in the middle of the track and you cut to the inside, you might get a whole car length on them. And that could be the difference between a pass and not a pass. All right, we're braking at just before the 2 up here. It's important to get the car down here to the inside curbing, and you want the car where the mouse is, right here. So just after the red curbing, you want the car like parallel to the red curbing, but you want it carving this little groove right in the bottom here. It's really on camber there, and it's a lot grippier the farther in you are. You just can't hit that red curbing again. Little double input for me, just because I realized I got on throttle a little too early. So there's a little bit more time here for me. And again, you're using every inch of track. Just back up a little bit. So the car's going, if this little curbing wasn't here, I'd be in the dirt, but the curbing's there, so I'm using it. Even just the very entrance of the curbing. My right tires are like tickling dirt molecules right now. We get the car back onto the track. And turn 6. I think this is turn 6. Pretty sure this is turn 6. We're turning in and braking. We kind of do both at the same time. And it's a very, very light brake. You'll see it right here. And also on the picture-in-picture. You're just braking to pull the nose in. And the more of a flick this can be, the more speed you'll hold going all the way up the hill toward the corkscrew. We'll watch this a couple times. So you see it's very, very little brake, because we're not trying to shave speed off. We're just trying to give the front end just a tiny bit more bite than it normally would, so we can really just get the car pivoted into this corner and get right back in throttle. So you actually see I touch the brakes as I'm turning in. The car doesn't pivot quite as much as I want it to, so I just tap the brakes just a tiny bit once again. But that, that kills a little bit of MPH that I would have going down the straightaway. But what's more important than being fast right here is being fast once you're on throttle. And you'll use every inch of track here, but you're going to have to work up to it, because if you get out wide right here and you got wheel crank to the left, you're going to crash, and then your race will be over. So let's avoid that. After you go past this kink right here, again, you're going to hustle the car to the left. There's a slight bend here, so you'll shave a couple car lengths just by being to the left. Another reason to be left is we want to open up the corkscrew as much as possible. We want to brake in this direction, the direction that the mouse is moving. So when we're braking in that direction, it opens up the corkscrew and just gives us a little room to turn the car in and also get on throttle. You don't want to pinch the car down into the left-hander starting the corkscrew, because then the car is going to be in a yaw and you won't be able to commit the throttle. You'll have to be fixing the car while it's light over the corkscrew, and you're going to lose a ton of time like that. I use while the car is in the air and not really putting power down. I use that to shift to third. I won't be flat as we're still light. But the moment I'm on the ground, like really compressed into the ground, I'll floor it, fix whatever happened, including fixing the compression there. Fix whatever happened, hustle the car to the right as much as I can without sacrificing my entry into the next left. And the way you know you got this one right is you turn in, you get on power, and you're using every inch of track. You don't have to use every inch of track on the outside here. See how on camber it is the farther in you are? As long as the angle on this curbing is about parallel with the angle of your car, then you know you got it right. And the way you know you held enough speed is if the car is forced to use every inch of track. Now be careful. The track's on camber right here, but the curbing is actually a little off camber. So if you drop out there, the car will move a little bit more than it was. And with the ND2, you're a little bit in between gearing here. I think you can keep it fourth, and it will probably be about the same amount of time. But if you can, get it back down to third for the right-hander up here. And this one's really fun and tricky. Again, we're using every inch of track. This curbing's brutal in here. If you hit it, it will definitely damage the car. But the car's really light through here. You're going to be catching the pivot with the throttle. So you're twisting the car in. It's like falling into this bowl of a corner. And you're going to be riding along the edge of the bowl. And the momentum should pull your car to the edge of the bowl, if we're going to keep calling this a bowl. And it will pull you to the very edge of track. And you're just timing up your throttle to use every inch of track on the exit here. And the entry here is very tricky just because you can commit way more than you think you can. And the momentum of the car brought it to the left. Now we're not on camber anymore. Coming up to the last left-hander, which is another good passing opportunity. But you pretty much have to have the guy in front of you mess up, and you get a great run out of there. You basically have to have overlap before you come into this braking zone. If you don't have overlap and you come into this braking zone and you're trying to do a pass anyways, you're going to have a collision, and it's gonna cause chaos. Also, if there's cars if you're not fighting for the lead and there's cars in front of you, or if you are fighting for the lead and there's cars behind you, attacking somebody here is going to cost you a bunch of time because it's right when you're going onto the front straight. So you won't get a nice clean exit out of this corner, and it's going to slow you and the guy you're attacking down. Now, that's fine if it's, for the win or for the lead, and you and the guy ran away, or you're fighting for some other place and there's no chance of catching the guys in front of you and there's no chance of those guys behind you catching you, then fine. I will totally agree with your move to pass somebody here. But if it makes sense to work with that guy so you don't get caught or you have a chance to catch the guys in front of you, then maybe, even if you have the run, do not attack him here. You'll just maybe do a little fake, maybe show your car on in his left mirror, and then come back and then use the full radius for the corner. So maybe he gives room like you're going to be there, and so he's slow down the straight, but you're not, so you can just keep going. You don't want to sacrifice the time on track here if it's not going to gain you anything. Okay, last corner. Let's see. Let's figure out where we brake here. It's like right at the 2, maybe just after, just a tad. And the off track here is when your left tires touch this white line. So you can actually use a whole lot of this, and this green stuff isn't really that slippery. So get on power to where the left tires barely aren't touching this white line, and then you did that fine. Another red curbing to avoid here. You can kind of run that one over a little bit, especially if you run over the very inside edge here. But I wouldn't make a habit of it. Sometimes you hit the front of it, and it does all sorts of weird things to the car. So yeah, that was a lap of Laguna, week 12 of season 1, 2020. Again, next week I'm going to be doing a setup tutorial, kind of just, it's going to be a one-take format just like it is now. I'll just pick a track and make a setup for it and kind of explain my rationale of what I'm doing, what I think the car is doing, what I think it could do better, stuff like that. So hopefully, I'm going to be looking for a lot of feedback on that video just to help you guys understand my rationale and maybe say a couple different ways so everybody gets it. Or sometimes you might halfway get it, and then if I say it another way, if I say the same thing another way, then you'll all the way get it. And that's what we're aiming for here, is for everybody to all the way get it, not halfway get it. Halfway getting it is a little dangerous because then you think you know what you're doing and you don't. So we're going to try to avoid that scenario. So, thank you for watching. Again, this is DJ Alessandrini. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Comment can be involving the video. It can be involving next week's video. It can be involving anything. It can be completely off topic. You can ask me all sorts of random weird questions. I love responding to the comments. I love talking about driving. So hit me up in the comments. Let's have a conversation. And I will see you next week.